Walk with me.
How amiable are thy tabernacles, O Yahweh of hosts. My soul longeth, yet even fainteth for the counts of the I am. My heart and my flesh crieth out for the living God. Yea, the sparrow hath found an house, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young, even thine altars, O I am of hosts, my King and my God. Blessed are they that dwell in thy house, they will be still praising thee. Selah. Blessed is the man whose strength is in thee, whose heart are the ways of them, whose passing through the valley of Baca makes it a well, the rain also filleth the pools. They go from strength to strength. Every one of them in Zion appeareth before God. The I am of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O God of Jacob, Selah. Behold, O God, our shield, look upon the face of thine anointed. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. For the I am is a sun and a shield, and the I am will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. O I am of hosts, blessed is the man that trusteth in thee. Psalms chapter 84. Mark that one. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts and hearts of men, and let them not lead me astray, O from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed forever, that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Those of you on this platform and shared platforms, we thank God for you, and we thank God for all, yes, all of his benefits, all things. We thank him and we praise him, for he is worthy to be praised, yes. And with a hand clap of praise, we thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, and we thank the Most High for those of you that have been thereafter and here and there's about, and we thank God for those of you who have just subscribed or followed. Even those of you that are about to subscribe or follow, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, all praises to the Most High, who is worthy of his mercy. Somebody says, what is holiness? You hear in your churches holiness. You hear in different places holy. What is holy? What is clean? What is it? I mean, why is it holiness unto the Most High? Why does God deem something holy? Well, let's put it like this. The law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances, the unchangeableness of the Most High in his character. We can say fairness is holy. God is fair. His law is fair. When you want to know God, just go to his law. When you want to know God's holiness and righteousness, you go to his law. That is holy. His law is holy. His law is gracious. His law, even they sing about it in the Psalms and all over the New Testament. Show me thy ways, O God. Sometimes they didn't have all the laws that they should have. And sometimes they just forgot things. And when things come up, you just want to go with the crowd and you forget the ways of the Most High. How do you follow the Most High, which is holy? The only way you can follow the Most High, which is holy, is by doing that which is holy. And that is his laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances. They're revealed there in the book of Exodus, Deuteronomy, Leviticus. Yes. And what's the next one? See, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and Numbers. The law of the Most High is there. If you want to know what God requires of you, what he deemed as holy, do what he says. Don't even in your New Testament books tell you to follow God as dear children, to be holy as he is holy? How are you holy when he is holy? You do those things that God do. How do you be righteous as your father is righteous, or become known like your father? You do the things that your fathers do. Your father of the flesh I'm talking about. But the fact is that God is holy, and he displays his holiness through his law, as some deem unjust because they are evil. Now, God is evil to the evil. He is righteous to the righteous, because the righteous know and understand their God, and they walk within his holiness, and that is his law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances. Yes, that is holiness unto the Most High. And when God has deemed something holy and he forgiven it, that means it's walking within that realm, or it's deemed to be within that realm, and to walk out of it would be sometimes death, unless you repent, change your ways, turn from it. The word repent means just stop doing it. Stop in your heart, number one. Stop lusting upon another man's things and his children and all these other things, and his wife and or her husband. Stop, just stop. You can ask God all day, but until you make up your mind that you're not going to do a certain thing, or you're not going to ponder on a certain thing so that you would not be tempted with it, you're going to have to go in your heart and find things to sublimate. God says no, so that means no. That would be the best one. God says this. What did Jesus do? What did they say Jesus do? We call him a prophet. Just as Islam calls him a prophet, although we're not Muslim or anything like that, but we called him a prophet. Because when he was tempted with Satan, what did he do? What did he do? He said, "It is written." So this is why we must hang the wisdom that he's talking about, the wisdom that your mother talked about in her own words, or that they attribute wisdom to, is the law. The law is perfect. The law is holiness unto the Most High. Do you disagree? If you do, you are wicked, and you have no part with the Most High. If you put it in your own words, that's okay, but as long as it translates into what God says. If God says thou shalt not commit adultery, what is under that is adultery is walking out of anything of marriage, short of marriage. I don't care what you call it. You can lay with beasts, lay with anything you want to lay with. Anything other than being in a married relationship is adultery. Just to give you an example, and it is a sin. That is sin. Because you have no right. God didn't give that to you. And even in your own heart, you know that's nothing you have committed yourself unto, even your own body. Man, woman. God is. Now, we're in the book of Jasher, chapter 66, yes. And we just stopped with how that Moses, the time has come for Moses. Hundreds of years passed by, and now here we come to the children of Jacob are brought to servitude, even what we call slavery, under the fears of Egypt. And even to this day, to understand how the colonizer fear you and how they hate you and all these things and why they do the things they do to you, you have to come back. Get you a copy of the book of Jubilees, for they tell you why and what's in their heart that they fear. Now, if they fear anything at this time, they would fear that those that are of Jacob or of a dark hue that look like Jacob would turn on them and join themselves to who? To their enemies, even what they call China or Russia, just to give you an example. These are the enemies of the United States. And they would fear that we would turn to them. They would fear that we do it, and then with just reason, because they've been evil. But the fact is, God, he uses whom he will to subdue things and put one down and bring another up. He says that. I put one down and I build another up. So you were built up at one time in the United States and Americas. You were built up. Democracy and capitalism and imperialism, you were built up for a reason. It's time for you to go down. But then there's don't rejoice yet, Jacob. Please don't rejoice yet. Because the time is coming where these things shall culminate. And the powers that we know that are will collide. And that what you call Babylon will not be as you know it. Very devastated. Some parts of it would be uninhabitable. But the rest of the world will go on, because the fact is that there should be a solution. And then it be reduced to what they have done to Africa. In the Arab world, where they have done many atrocities, and in Europe, shall be brought not as we know it today. It shall be brought low. See, when God gives a king or a ruler the green light, it's on. There's nothing you can do. I don't care how many nuclear bombs, how many rifles and troops you have. It will not work. We're in the age where we're at the feet of Daniel. The idol that was in Daniel. We're at the feet. There were many leaders and kings. So now you have the EU, you got Iraq, Iran, you got China, you got Russia, you got all these things at the feet. You got a myriad of people, nations, Korea, North Korea. All these people are there. I'm not speaking politics. This is Bible now. These are the feet, but they will not mingle themselves together as with the Roman Empire, as the United States were part of the Roman, should I say, ideology, the Greco-Roman ideology. It's destroyed. You might as well say those things because it's already done. People see it. Though you don't even have to be religious to see this. You don't even have to know the Bible to see that this is so. It is over. But yet, even as Rome, until the last minute, they still tried to resurrect it. Now you're going to see a lot of them try to make their way to Africa. They feel they're safe there. And this is where Africa will meet its toughest time. Some will try to go to China. Some will try to go this way and this way, because the fact is, the whole catalyst of this supremacy thing was the color of the skin. How did that is? Because the richest man in Africa is black. It's a status, the color of the skin. See, this is a demonic blanket put over your eyes. I'm going to put it that way. But either way, it's over. I mean, whether I live or die doesn't matter. But the fact is that it's over. I mean, whether we all get caught up in this excursion of the demise of this and be a part of the smoke ascending up into the clouds, that's on God, how he deemed it to be. I say in everything God is righteous, because what he does is fair, and that is his holiness, fairness. God is fair to all nations and people. God is not wicked. He's only wicked to the wicked. The wicked value children when God sees children in a different light than you see children. Oh, he killed the children. There was something God seen about that child. How can you say the Creator, when he destroys his creation, how can you say he's unjust? You don't know what he see. Does a robot say to you, oh, why did you destroy that robot? You just half made him. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. It's not nobody hates children. That's just a scenario I'm giving you. But the fact is that God is God, and we must respect him. Even Abraham, the faith and the confidence of Abraham was to the point he didn't care. Even his own life, even his own child, he did not care. Because God was number one in his life. And the main thing that God showed the Satan was that he loves me. That is holiness. He that loves God will obey his commandments. And God will love him, not Jesus. And God will be with him. You can't contain God. God cannot be within you. There's nowhere in the Old Testament where God was within a person. His spirit was upon the person, because you cannot contain him. Not even the angels. The angels are built to contain those things, but the angels, there's some that can get closer and there's some that are further away from the Most High, because they were not made to contain him. We don't understand the mystery of the Creator. We don't understand it. Many of us try to figure him out. Who can know God by figuring him out? No one. You've lost it. Your mind has been seared by the devils. Now, let us continue. We got a little time. All right. Verse 28, 66th chapter of Jubilees, verse 28. And we go where the Midianites feared God and did not hearken to the king of Egypt, and they did not kill the children, as the king of Egypt has, or the Pharaoh of Egypt has commanded them. Now in verse 28 he said, and this thing was told to the king, and he sent and called for the midwives, and they said to him, why have you done this thing and have saved the children alive? Fear! Eugenics. Fear! This eugenics movement was fear, and it's still going on. Planned Parenthood. There's nothing new. Margaret Sanger and all the rest of them. Devil-led. Fear! Because they felt the demise of their, should I say, supremacy. There's nothing supreme in this world but God. That's it. And the midwives answered, in verse 29, and spoke together before the king, saying, let not the king think that the Hebrew women are as the Egyptian women, for all the children of Israel are hale. It says H-A-L-E. I said, yeah, they hell, all right. They torment to you because the fact is God has a plan that you don't understand. And before the midwives come to them, they are delivered. And as for us, thy handmaids, for many days no Hebrew woman has brought forth upon us, for all Hebrew women are their own midwives. In other words, they learn how to do that. See, this is why a lot of you that are of Jacob need to learn how to be midwives and get your certifications. Especially in the U.S. It doesn't matter if you're in other countries like Africa or those countries that doesn't require these things to try to keep accountability of you. Because what happens is that sometimes you might get, it is proven that they put too many vaccines in the child at one time, and some children, or it depends on the hospital, some children develop what they called, it's not Alzheimer's, I forget the name again. We'll come up with that name again. It's just too many vaccines, and it messes up the child. And they want to try to do everything at once. It's not only limited to children of color, but also those of a lighter hue also. And they went on and said, and Pharaoh heard their words and believed them in this matter. Autism. That was the word I wanted to say. Autism. It has no bias for anyone. Autism. It's because of vaccines. I'm going to call a buck a buck. It's called vaccines. Giving too many vaccines. Well, when I was a child, our vaccines, we would come one day and we would get the vaccine. We would get one vaccine and we'd have to go back at different increments in time. But now today, they try to give it to all the children all at one time, except for some. And then they got to get the rest of them when they start school. Be weary. And this is why a lot of women need to become midwives. And men too. You can become a mid husband or whatever you want to call it. For those of you that want to. But anyway, Get a certification to be a midwife. And that way you have access. You can you can work among your own, deliver the babies and of your own, and also make a good living at it too. You can. You really can. A good living. You have your own equipment, you have your own car, you have your own everything, and you charge what is fair. See, the hospitals can't take that. See, they're always backed by government policy. It's not that they have the answer to everything, it's because they have the most money to lobby to get these things. And the poor man has to be subject unto them. There are many have had their babies taken because the hospitals didn't make enough money from them to have that baby. They built. Why not just have it in the home? If you keep your house clean, you have nothing to worry about. And the midwives would always be busy. Yeah, she go for her checkups and all these things, and if she have a midwife, the doctor will put to her all his information that he think the midwife should watch out for. Yes, it's cool. But will they do it? That's what you call wickedness. Now, you go to a country like in places of Africa, you don't have to worry about that. The midwives know what to do, and they're going to do it. Now, I digress. I can talk all day. But because they are hell, and the Pharaoh heard their words and believed them in this matter, and the midwives went away from the king, and God dealt with them, and the people multiplied and waxed exceedingly. Now we're into chapter 67 and verse 1. And there was a man in the land of Egypt of the seed of Levi, whose name was Amram, the son of Keath. Remember, Amram was the son of Keath. It doesn't say that in the 66 books. It just says Amram. See, that's why you know there's a dead. See, I thank God he let everything be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. See, you got the Gospels is established. They say, oh, these are 2. This is what the Bible says. But then here you are obeying what God says. There's Enoch. There's Jubilees. There's Jasher. And then there's those Penochs and whatever the Greeks put in there. They still have their own quirks about them. But God gives us the truth, and that we can compare with these books with that book, what the Greeks have put in there, to preserve their own superiority. Okay? There was a man in the land. His name was Amram, the son of Keath, the son of Levi, the son of Israel. And this man went and took a wife, namely Jochebed. Jacob. It says Joch, but it should be Ashibed. Jochebed. Yeah, Jochebed. And Jochebed, or Oshebed. Yes. And the daughter of Levi, his father's sister, and she was 126 years old, and he came unto her. That must have been a fine woman, old woman. Don't knock old women now. Don't knock them. You get into that song, it says, you say a little weight won't do you no harm. A little age ain't gonna do you no harm either, man. Especially when you're up in years. And she's widowed, and you need just somebody to talk to, or somebody just to have and hold, or whatever, forever, whatever God will give you. She needs your love too. If you're up in years and you want a wife, and there are many of older women that are very beautiful. There are older women that are, that have their loins and they have their health and they can move better than you. So don't knock them out of the box. They bear their children, yes. Their husbands might have moved on, but then there's you. God has blessed to have the blessing of years. Don't knock them at all. The young have theirs. Oh, they don't want the companionship. They just want your money. Many of them do. Some of them don't. Some of them love you. Yes, that does. And then some of them would accuse you of what? Grooming. But yet the young woman she's getting what she wants, but you're grooming her. No, that don't make no sense. I think she's doing the grooming because she's preying upon your desire to have that which satisfy you, not the sex, but just the point that you have caused yourself to want the companionship. You want to look on a fresh face, but I tell you, God has blessed many older women to have that fresh face and that fit body. And many of them are, they're making efforts to have that fit body and the fresh face. And they want someone around their age to travel, to converse, to laugh, to love. Yes. And you be that man if you're that man. Yes. And this went and took a wife, namely Ashabed. We're in verse 3. Now she was 126 years. And he came unto her, and the woman conceived and bare a daughter, and she called her name Miriam, because in those days the Egyptians had embittered the lives of their children. So Miriam should mean embittered our lives, or something to that effect. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Aaron. For in the days of her conception, Pharaoh began to spill the blood of the male children, or Aaron should mean spilt blood. Now in those days, now that also coincides in Aaron, because the priesthood was given to Aaron for a just reason. You wonder why. Let's continue. In those days died Zepho, the king. This was a Edomite, son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, king of Chittim, and Janus reigned in his stead. And the time that Zepho reigned over the time of the children of Chittim was 50 years, and he died and was buried in the city of Nabana. Now you can find these characters, but some of you will not find the characters because they're somewhere else. You had many grave robbers, especially when they identified where the graves of these patriarchs or people mentioned in the Bible are. See, what's called a buck? Thieves. They steal the body, steal the gold and everything that's with them. Thieves come and they bury something else. Thieves come and tell you that the pyramids are so old when they're only as old as Egypt. And that ain't even, not even over 8,000 years. Even in America, they might look older or whatever. Do you believe everything they tell you? No. But I tell you one thing, the children of Miriam were in America. They didn't go by ship. They went by land, crossing over. As the land split, they were already there. Now, at the time that Zepho reigned over the children of Israel was, Chittim, was 50 years. And Janus, one of the mighty men, we're in verse 7, of the children of Chittim reigned after him, and he reigned 50 years. And it was after the death of the king of Chittim that Balaam, the son of Beor, fled from the land of Chittim. Now this Balaam, son of Beor, lived quite a while now. He should be in his hundreds by now. If not 100, he's 200 years old. This soothsayer, this guy he has some type of spiritual thing going on here. And he went and came to Egypt to Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Pharaoh received him with great honor, and he had heard of his wisdom, and gave him presents, and made him for a counselor, and aggrandize him. In other words, made him someone of wisdom and age. He was an age. And Balaam went in Egypt in honor with all the nobles of the king, and the nobles exalted him because they all coveted to learn his wisdom. And in the 130th year of Israel's going down to Egypt, Pharaoh dreamed that he was sitting upon his kingly throne, and lifted up his eyes and saw an old man standing before him, and there were scales in the hands of the old man, such as scales as are used by the merchants. And the old man took the scales and hung them before Pharaoh. And the old man took all the elders of Egypt and all its nobles and great men, and he tied them together and put them in one scale. And he took a milk kid and put it in the other scale, and the kid preponderated all over. And Pharaoh was astonished. And it was astonished at this beautiful vision, why the kid should ponderate it, or in other words, he was greater than all, over all. And Pharaoh woke, and behold, it was a dream. Haven't you had dreams that really you thought that was real? I mean, I have. I raised my hand. I have. Yes, I have. And Pharaoh rose up early in the morning and called all his servants and related to them the dream. And the men were greatly afraid. And the king said to all his wise men, interpret, I pray you, the dream which I dreamed that I may know it. And Balaam the son of Beor answered the king and said unto him, this means nothing else but a great evil will spring up against Egypt in the latter days. These are the latter days, and a great evil will spring up towards Babylon, even that Egypt that was taken again with ships. It will become a desolation. It will still thrive, but not as you know it today. It will be a third world type place, not as you know it today. And the rest of the world shall keep going. And these things are evident as we see. And God will make sure of this, because everything is orchestrated by the Most High. Your supremacy and all that was orchestrated by the Most High for a reason. Now your downfall is orchestrated by the Most High for a reason. Why do you think things are shifting in your financial institutions? Things are shifting in your weaponry comparisons, and you orchestrate liars and wait liars on internet and media trying to bump up the people and that you are all this and all that, when your weaponry really may not even work, may not even be as effective as you thought it was, because of what the Most High has ordained. Call a buck. You can run to Africa, try to take it over, but they're going to rise up and they will demise you because you have went against their rules. You will be just as their people. If you do not, you might think that you're better, but they're going to treat you as equal or even lesser. How you like that? You run, but you can't hide. Yes. And Balaam the son of Beor answered the king and said unto him, this means nothing but a great evil will spring up against Egypt. And for a son will be born. Now, didn't they say that about Esau? That part is true. The son was born. He said this was a Messiah. A Messiah is going to be born. Yes, he's a son of God too. God has many sons. Just called a buck. He don't lay with his creation. Neither does he allow even his own angels to lie with his creation. Those watchers who have laid and created giants. How did they create giants? God saw that. Didn't you know he abominated those things? He saw them coming. When one that is with God have changed in his thoughts, and see, you have a harmony in heaven. And when a spirit gets out of harmony with everything else and what God has caused it to do, there's a disruption. How do I know this? That's for you to find out, and I know. Yes. But either way, there's a disruption. And so God says, okay, I see what this person have considered in their heart. And these are in the form of thoughts. I don't know God and trying to figure him out. I only know God as he reveals it to me, and how he presents it even in his laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances. That I know. Now, and Balaam the son of Beor answered the king and said, this means nothing but else an evil will spring up against Egypt in the latter days, for a son will be born. A son is given. Here, you going to call Moses Jesus? At least Moses delivered the people at that time. And this Jesus, you say, is yet to deliver you. You say, I'm going to call those things by faith? Many of you lost faith. You're devastated. You're downtrodden. And Israel, who will destroy all Egypt and its inhabitants and bring forth the Israelites from Egypt with a mighty hand. Now, this was 80 years after his birth that this happened. So many were going to give up and say, oh, it ain't going to happen. So therefore, O king, take counsel upon this matter, that you may destroy the hope of the children of Israel. Now, we have a hope that was given to us all the way from the book of Enoch. Behold, the I Am is going to come with 10,000 of his anointed to execute judgment upon the earth. In other words, it's going to be sentenced. He's already judged the earth. The sentence is going to be carried out. You've already been convicted of your sin and your backslidings and your adulteries and your idolatries. But now sentence is going to be carried out. You think God playing with you? He's not playing with me or anybody else. Not even a baby. God is not playing. I don't care if you got 3 arms and you're crooked. God even tells you, don't even in judgment of the law, do not even look upon a man because of his weaknesses or his poverty. If he committed a crime, that is a crime, period. But you say, well, I judge according to color. I judge according to status. How much money you got, brother? But either way, we're going to read this last few and then we're going to go. He says, in Israel, and who will destroy all Egypt and its inhabitants and bring forth the Israelites from Egypt with a mighty hand. Now, therefore, O king, take counsel upon this matter, that you may destroy the hope of the children of Israel and their expectation for this evil arise against Egypt. And the king said unto Balaam, and what shall we do unto Israel? Surely after a certain manner we did at first counsel against them, and should not prevail over them. Now, we're going to stop at verse 21. Verse 21. We're going to stop at verse 21. You can read from there and there on. And we'll come back, walk with me with it. Now, he did that. All I'm doing is trying to put a starter on your conscience, a starter on your thinking, that God is not playing with you. This king was scared. I mean, he was scared, he was scared, he was scared. Because this is going to be the final cap. And after that, guess who occupies Egypt? They're not black. They don't look like Moses. They don't look like the dark Ethiopian wife that he had that Miriam was jealous of. But yet her complaint was against Moses. See, some people will take their jealousies and put it on someone else when it's of you. God saw that. Her brother also. But the fact is, a lot of things are revealed in these other books that are not shown in the 66 books. And we have to take these witnesses and add them up. Have to add them up, just like they decide, who knows, they could have concocted the gospel by seeing all these 4 books. And said, well, we're going to try 4 gospels. 4 books of beginnings. Oh, but we're just going to call the other one 5 books. Oh, yeah, he was talking to Moses the whole time. Either way, if you're going to say 5 books of Moses, you might say 8 books of Moses. Because all of it was taught to Moses, period. Moses had a lot to write, but he spoke and others wrote, because you have scribes back then, and that's what they did. They wrote as the prophet spoke. God told them to do it. And that's what, go get you somebody, go get a scribe to write these things down. And he knew what to do. And there are many prophecies that went forth that no one would ever know. It's not there. But regardless, we know that God is not playing with us and that the time is coming. And it's time to prepare yourself. Some of us will not make it through this time. Could be me, could be you. I mean, in the time that to come, when finally the smoke of her torment shall ascend into the heavens, and she no more will be as we know her, even old Egypt that we were taken, our ancestors were taken again in ships, and that Egypt, that Babylon, who everyone lives lavishly off of and got rich off of. I mean, China got rich off of America, yes. Korea and all the rest of them, even Russia, all of them made some money off America. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. And now she's going to go up in smoke. Just as Rome fell, she's going to fail tenfold. And with that, we're going to say, get it right, make it tight, and shalom.
Walk with me.